Hello again. I hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about ultra-processed foods. Now the thing is, there's so much written about food, isn't there, and so much broadcast about food too, and it can be quite bewildering. But most of us, I'm sure, really want to eat as healthily as possible, but we also want to eat things that we enjoy. So we don't want to be, so we say, excluding our favourites all over the place. But I'm sure if you're on a weight program and you're losing weight, you're beginning to think differently about what you actually want to put into your mouths and your bodies. And I hope that this little video will help you with that. Generally, when we're asked to eat more healthily, we realize that that moves us away from processed foods and convenience foods into more food cooked from scratch. And the content is likely to contain plant foods, vitamins, proteins, that kind of thing. And I'm sure you're thinking along those lines. And I mentioned processed in that because there is increasing worry about just how much processed food, particularly what they call ultra-processed food, is now available. Ultra-processed food, sometimes abbreviated, by the way, to UPFs. Now, I was already concerned about this and thinking about it quite a lot when I saw, probably 18 months ago or more, a BBC Panorama programme on this very subject, which confirmed my worst fears, really, about what is in foods that have a long shelf life. The programme was presented by Professor Tim Spector of the Zoe Project. Many of you, I'm sure, will know of him. And it featured a food experiment which was based on the experiences of twin girls, well, twin women really, Nancy and Amy. Basically, for 2 weeks, Nancy ate a whole food diet, which was not dissimilar to how she eats normally anyway. Her twin Amy, though, was put on a diet consisting of only ultra-processed foods. I imagine everyone predicted that the healthier diet would be healthier, and that's exactly what proved to be the case. But I'm sure many people were staggered by how unhealthy the other diet was. Amy developed headaches, she felt hungry most of the time, and actually put on weight during the period of the experiment. She said there was very limited fresh food in the diet and no fruits or vegetables. Everything was really easy to eat mindlessly, and I didn't, she said, have to put any effort into eating it. It's the type of food I could eat quickly and it would taste consistently good. Unfortunately, its taste was pretty much the only good thing about the project. Amy started snacking more than usual because actually, though she seemed to be eating quite a lot, she was hungry all the time, particularly on waking in the mornings. She also felt absolutely exhausted. I remember Tim Spector reassuring us in that programme that because she was young and fit, this fortnight experiment would not have any lasting effect on her. And I'm sure I was not the only one to feel relieved about that. So let's look then at what ultra-processed foods are exactly. They're industrially produced, and the ingredients contain many foodstuffs that we certainly would not have in our kitchens. There are all sorts of colourings and additives that go into them, but the major worry is about the additives called emulsifiers. These are used to make foods last longer and also to add taste and often thickness and consistency as well. Now, I gather that there are now more than 6,000 foods in the UK containing emulsifiers, and that may be a conservative estimate, so it shows you it's very hard to avoid them. As Amy found out, they're not healthy, and they certainly seem to be a factor in people needing to eat more because they don't feel full or satisfied. You may think back to your own diet before you were on this programme that you're on now and realise that you were probably eating a lot of these foods, and that may have had some impact on, you know, your inability to lose weight and your constant feeling of feeling hungry. So Try to make sure they're no longer part of your diet, because now they're linked to very many serious illnesses, and scientists claim that there are significant associations between UPFs and increased risk of cancer. Perhaps the worst thing of all, though, is that current research studies that show that far too many of us have emulsifiers and UPFs in our diet. It's claimed, in fact, that ultra-processed foods account for about half of the daily intake of calories in high-income countries. And that eating these foods has now been recognised as a proven link to 32 different poor health conditions, which include cancer of the brain, breast and ovaries, heart disease, stroke, diabetes and obesity. And a study which was reported earlier in the year claimed that UPFs lead to around 20,000 premature deaths a year in the UK. And similar figures are, of course, being reported elsewhere on the planet. Now, the World Cancer Research Fund listed just a fraction of the many everyday foods that are ultra-processed. I think this list may surprise you. Pre-packaged meals such as microwave dinners, industrially produced bread, breakfast cereals, sweets, chocolates, biscuits and cakes, sausages, chicken nuggets, veggie burgers, soft drinks including cola and fruit drinks, crisps, sweetened yogurt. Quite a lot, and that's by far, it's not the entire picture, I'm sure. I doubt if any of us are going to be able to avoid all those things, and I have to say for myself, on a hot day, sometimes only a bag of crisps will do, because you suddenly need that salt intake, don't you? But for example, if you think that you're doing a good thing for your family by buying in frozen pizza, for example, as a treat, have another think, because that happens to be one of the foods that many nutritionists say should be, in quotes, avoided at all costs. So it does take some thinking, and it does take some more cooking from scratch if you're going to avoid them, I'm afraid. But the more we can produce home-cooked fresh foods, the fewer UPFs we will consume, and the more we'll know exactly what we're putting into our mouths and bodies. We can also seek out foods that might be processed to some degree but undergo less processing, and these include frozen fruit and vegetables, frozen fish, dried fruit, 100% fruit juice and yogurt with no sweetener or sugar added. Finally, I do think we should take our reading glasses with us when we go to the supermarket and ensure that we read that full list of ingredients that's generally in excessively small print. I have to tell you that when I started doing that, I found a company I thought of as being extremely health conscious actually had emulsifiers in their almond milk. I would never have guessed that. And I had to go looking for a replacement, which I did find in M&S, as it happens. It's hard, therefore, to eliminate UPFs entirely, but really we should do our best to avoid them as much as possible. I hope you found this information useful. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.